Monday, second Monday.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If everyone could stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, yeah, it's right in sync. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Rogers? Present. Trustee Reinders? Present. Trustee Pazmino?
Present.
Trustee Consolino? Present. Trustee Fialko?
Present.
Trustee Laha? Present. Mayor Yukich?
Present. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir, I have one. I'd like to move H ahead of G.
Okay, do I have to? Okay.
Also, Mayor, I would like to remove I-4 from the consent agenda and send it back to committee for clarification
To Parks.
to Parks.
Okay. Next would be public hearing. Joe, do we have anyone on the list? Do we have anyone on the list for the public hearing? Oh, the public hearing, we have to open it. Oh, for the proposed budget, that's right. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
I will second it.
For Dan. John, you've got this one? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now, is there any questions? Because we got to go out to the audience.
Well, first we can do the presentation.
Well, Mayor, this is just the legal requirement of the budget approval process, and we've started this back with a draft to the board back on March 9th with a presentation on the following meeting, and then we've incorporated those changes into draft 3, and that's been available for public inspection for a couple weeks now. We've advertised the public hearing in the paper over a week ago, so we've met our legal obligation for that particular portion of the budget process. So if there is no other comments regarding that, we'll look to bring this budget back at the next meeting for your voting approval.
Are there any public comments? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. So is this the third draft or the second?
The first draft was the one that was handed out and you reviewed, and then there was a few changes made to that prior to the presentation made at the second March meeting. That was draft 2, and draft 3 includes those 2 initiatives for the park fund, which is the tot lot and the Veterans Memorial. Those are the only 2 changes that have been made to draft 2.
So
And so we ended up with 3 drafts.
draft 3 wasn't reprinted, we're just calling it draft 3, right? So what we have is draft 2, as long as we include the additions for the parks, that does it. Because I haven't seen a printed draft 2.
So the draft document is actually I thought you got did you get a report that looks like this? This is the document. The presentation is a PowerPoint presentation, and it's not the legal document that gets filed to the clerk's office. So the one that you have tonight is draft 3, which hopefully will be a final draft at our next meeting. It includes those last 2 changes.
All right, thank you, John.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any questions or any comments? No? Then we have to close it and go back to the public hearing.
Do a motion to close.
Motion to close public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next would be the minutes. Do we have a motion to accept the February 23rd, 2022 minutes?
So moved.
I'll second.
Rose? Ruben? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? March 9th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
And Rose, discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Makes it quicker. March 23rd, 2022. Need a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Madam Clerk? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And last one, March 28th, 2022.
So moved.
Rose,
Second.
Jen,
Really quick, we made a couple of changes in that last one, right?
Yes, we did. There was two little typos. Under roll call, it says that trustee Laha arrived at, I don't know what your notes say, but it should be 4:06. And then to adjourn, I had to change who made the motion to adjourn. So it should say Fialco and Consolino instead of Laha and whoever else you guys said. So that was it.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Reports and communications, we're going to, oh, that's right, you want to switch them. H, we're going to public comment, or before the reports and communication. So, Joe, do you? Ms. Sharon Swees.
Hello, everyone. It has become very clear that many of the trustees on this board are more concerned about increasing their power and control than doing what's best for this community. That can be seen by the recent hiring of the village manager without any municipal government experience, despite previous qualifications calling for a minimum of 7 to 10 years of such experience. Some of the trustees stated they did not want to see that position become a stepping stone for other managers, but now you have reduced that position down to a job training scenario. The board approved a $130,000 salary plus any and all benefits. The village manager's position is a full-time plus job. Remaining as the Homer Township assessor, which is also a full-time job, is outrageous, it's not ethical, and it's cheating the taxpayers. The bottom line here, it's not what you know, it's who you know on this board, and that is not sitting very well with the residents of this community. Thank you. I have another appointment, so I cannot listen to your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Next would be Linda Ryan.
I'd like to comment on the approval of a special use permit in the Anaco complex. It is definitely affecting my privacy. I'm requesting that with approval, you give me some type of privacy screening or landscaping. I've been in that position. I've met with all of them, Mr. Ibrahim, the Peterson Properties, myself. We were all in agreement when we met on March 13th, and I was only notified Friday at 3 o'clock that Mr. Peterson no longer wants to provide private screening. I have a picture, if you would like to see it, of my home. There is a complete deck along the house, and there is an in-ground pool, which I have had since 1983, more than one. I have grandchildren and myself that use this from spring to fall. It is our enjoyment, and I would like some type of privacy. I believe on attachment 7, Melissa King showed that my property is in direct line of the special permit, and I really feel that I deserve some type of screening. Mr. Ibrahim is getting his business. The Peterson properties are getting a contract for 5 years for rental. I would just like some privacy. I have children that are teenagers, and they are in bathing suits as well as myself, and I would appreciate your giving me screening with this approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. Next would be Ralph McCurdy.
Good evening, Ralph McCurdy representing Peterson Properties regarding agenda item J1 for ordinance 22015, 15751 Antico Drive, Unit 3. Peterson Properties has 3 buildings that abut the homes on the north of that property. The majority of the homeowners' complaints that have come in during this process are not about any of our buildings and our tenants. It seems odd that we would need to provide screening after 30-plus years, and yet the homeowner has never planted anything in their backyard to protect their view of the buildings and the parking lots that we're seeing. We are making no changes to the exterior of the building with this tenant looking at moving into this space. The screening that's being called for is to block view of his garage door and the parking lot. No different than it is today or any other tenants that we can put in there. We did meet with them and discuss things. We just want to go on record that we are not in agreement with providing this screening. We feel it opens up many doors for other homeowners along there to look for something. But should the board decide to overturn what the subcommittee has decided, we will go along with your suggestions.
Thank you, sir. Derek McCurdy. Ahmad Abraham.
Good evening, board. Thank you for taking the time to listen. My name is Ahmed Ibrahim. I'm actually the applicant for special use permit on 15751 Antico Drive, Unit 3. I just wanted to add one thing to the process to update you. We are installing an HVAC unit to keep all our operation indoors, and doors will be closed at all times. This is something that we discussed in the past, and I read the agenda that it was something that we are looking into, but we are actually confirmed. Contractors signed up and registered with the village, and we will go ahead and install HVAC unit. So any concerns about noise or the doors being open or cars coming in and out, majority of our operation will be indoors. Potentially there'll be cars parked outside during business hours, but all our operation will be inside the building with the doors closed. I just wanted to note that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That's it for public comment. Now we're going to reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I'm going to start backwards. Carmen, you got the first.
Hello, everybody. So it's been 2.5 weeks. I want to say the staff here has been awesome. I've met with most of the directors, kind of do a weekly meeting, kind of a weekly update, and it's been great. The other thing I would like to say is I got to tour the public works facility to kind of see what's going on in that area. So I spent some time there. I spent pretty much a couple hours there, kind of touring the facility, see what happens on that end. I also would like to let everybody know that our flock cameras, we have 2 installed from 311. They are up and working. Notifications are coming through. We are waiting for 6 to be approved by the county, Will County, for the roads that they are going to be placed on. And that's the update I have for them. We also did receive grant money for $5,000 with those flex, and it's been deposited, so we're good with that. I also want to say that our app has 842 users, our Simplicity app. That's 3% of our total residents in the area. I think that's wonderful and awesome. I don't know if anybody hasn't signed up yet, but it is a great tool to get some updates. There's a lot of information on there, and it's kind of nice to see. It's definitely an outreach for our community, and I think it's very helpful. You know, we're in a day and age that we hold our phones in our hands quite often, and I think this is a great little tool for us. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we do have our food drive through Sunday. Items can be placed in the trailer. I was informed by staff that the door sticks a little bit, so you might kind of give it a little a nudge to get it open. But we are definitely doing our food drive. And that's pretty much all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Next, public safety officials. Jeff, you have anything? Next, village attorneys.
Carmen, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
That's all I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing.
Okay. Carmen, village clerk.
Thank you, Mayor.
Chris.
What?
Carmen, you're the clerk too?
You know,
What? That's crazy.
I wasn't expecting to go right now, but I do want to give an update on our Pop Tab Challenge. It's starting. We're starting today. We are going to go until June 26th, which I believe is the Sunday of the fest. And with permission from the fest, we are going to we're going to announce the winners that day. The plan for the Pop Tab Challenge this year is going to be totally different than last year. We're not going to challenge another community. We're challenging each other. So every resident is for themselves. First place winner will receive $1,000. With that $1,000, they'll receive an additional $1,000 to give to a special needs family. Second place prize will receive a $250 gift card to Chesdon's, and they will also receive an additional $250 gift card for a special needs family. And then we have a third place prize sort of in the works right now. We're working on what that prize is going to be, but it's going to be fun and it's going to be good. That's all I have to report, Mayor. Thank you.
thank you, Christine. And we'll go, Dan.
All right, for the festival, everything is all locked up with the bands. I'm sure you saw the contracts, sir, on your desk just recently. The publication to the public should be coming out shortly with that list of events and everything going on that day. The other thing I'd like to say is welcome aboard, Carmen Morella. We're proud to have you with us. Just so everybody knows, we've gone through in almost 21 years, we've gone through approximately 11 village managers. Hopefully, this will help curb that, and the whole idea is to retain talent and to retain people, not to have a revolving door. And I think that, Carmen, you're a great fit for this village. You've lived here for 40 years. You've been involved with all kinds of things when it comes to the stallions and other things with the village as your kids were growing up. And I welcome you. Thank you. Thank you for coming aboard.
Thank you very much.
That's it, sir.
Okay, Rose?
On April 4th, I attended the Veterans Breakfast at Blueberry Hill. My purpose was to talk to the veterans to see, to get some input from them on us moving forward with our Veterans Memorial in Heritage Park. It was a very informative meeting with them. I actually went table to table, and they were so happy. They couldn't thank me enough for moving forward with this. They just said that we've been waiting for this to come to fruition. So with that, I basically, I have a few hobbies, and architecture is one of them. So I did go home and I did design a Veterans Memorial. This is just a rough draft. And Amy is actually going to be putting it on a graphic for me, and then we are going to start to move forward with planning the Veterans Memorial. So we're going to talk to our committee a little bit more on Monday. So we're excited about that. And also, There's been some talk about some different things that are going to be happening in the park, and we are moving forward. We're waiting to open up the bids for the children's playground in the park. So that will be at our next meeting, and can't wait. So we'll be informing everybody moving forward. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Ruben?
Thank you, sir. I have nothing to report for any of my committees, but first of all, I want to wish everybody and their families a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, Easter. Oh, Thanksgiving, I'm getting ahead of myself. Very happy Easter. And I also want to welcome aboard Mr. Carmen Morella. I will say that the moment he came in hitting the ground running. And I know that, you're getting stuff from both sides, but it takes a lot to do what you're doing, keeping your eye on the prize, which is the village of Homer Glen. Thank you very much for that. And as always, we're here for you. Anything you need, please let us know.
Thank you, Ruben.
And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Ruben.
And Merry Christmas. Absolutely.
It's a jet lag.
And Happy Hanukkah, too.
Okay, Beth?
I just want to start by thanking John Sawyers for an amazing job on the budget once again. You're always so open to somebody who has a literature degree and doesn't understand budgets as much as I do, so you helped me quite a bit, so I appreciate your help with that. And
thank you.
And again, I think it's a good budget, as always. I want to thank Amy Blank for her work on the newsletter, which hopefully will be hitting the mailboxes this week. A lot of good information in there, especially with the up-and-coming projects and activities that are going to be happening in the park, so it keeps everybody informed. Carmen, again, we had a great conversation today. Your success is the most important thing to me in this village, because your success means everybody succeeds, right? So whatever I can do to help you succeed, I'm here for you, and want to see whatever support I can give you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Beth. Nikki?
All right. The Ability Awareness Committee would like to acknowledge that April is Autism Awareness Month, and April 2nd is World Autism Day. We're really excited to be hosting a free sign language class on August. Oh my goodness, it must be in the air. What month is it? April 26th is our sign language class, and that is open to the public, and it is free. We are filling up really fast, so we have it here, so if we have to use both rooms, we can, but unfortunately, we did talk about possibly having to cap it off if it gets too many people. So just FYI, if you're thinking about it and you're on the fence, sign up as soon as you can, because I think we might have to maybe have a part 2 of this class. Also, to add on, the Parks Committee, we also received a $5,000 grant from the Homer Glen Foundation to put towards the new park that's going in the Old Oak Villas. So I'm really, really excited about that. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. And Jen?
Okay, Merry Christmas and Happy Easter, everybody. Okay, I'm going to switch it up a little bit tonight. We did finally get to meet with Public Safety last week, because the past couple months we had to cancel due to the loss of a few of our committee members. Unfortunately, we had a few good people retire, but we're moving along. We're also, Trustee Falco, working on the ATV ordinance, and we are lightening restrictions. We're currently working on lightening the restrictions with the golf carts. Also, along with the electronic toys for kids. So we found some other ordinances in very close by suburbs that we're kind of piggybacking on a little bit. Apparently everybody's having the same problems with the ATVs. I'd also like to take a cue from Nikki, and here's my report for tonight. Each year, April is set aside as a Military Child Appreciation Month, officially known as the Month of the Military Child. With its creation in the mid-1980s, the Pentagon and other military support organizations and agencies use this month to recognize military kids for their sacrifice and their bravery on the home front. Sorry. The term military brat is a badge of pride worn by generations of kids who traveled the world with their parents, moving into adulthood with the knowledge that they have the strength to handle anything. Military children deal with separations,
deployments, frequent moves, and even their parents' injuries as part of the life they were born into or entered with their families. The strength and resiliency of a military child is inspirational, especially this year as many of them are facing new learning from home adventures, extended separations from a parent, and delayed PCSs due to the Ukraine and Russia war. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very private and frank person when it comes to my personal life. My daughter and I do not live on or near a military base with my husband when he is deployed. Last year, my daughter had a very emotional experience when her school had their father-daughter dance. Her father was overseas in Germany, and he was unable to attend. Although the other children in her grade knew that her dad is in the military, they did not comprehend, and he could not come home to attend the dance. It was very frustrating for her. Numerous friends and fathers offered to take her to the dance. However, she declined. She told them that no one could ever replace her dad. She was right. I share this story not to garner sympathy. I share this experience to promote awareness. Each military child has these unique and emotional experiences. Awareness and kindness make all the difference in their roller coaster lives. Military children are truly special. If you are blessed to know any of these children, or even come across them, please take the time to acknowledge their hardship and their sacrifices. Tonight, I would like to say a special thank you to my amazing daughter, Genevieve. She has dealt with the hardship of numerous deployments with her daddy. She loves and admires him dearly. She sacrifices every day for our country and for our freedoms. She also sacrifices her time with me while her father is deployed so that I can do my civic duty for our village and serve our community. It's because of her bravery and her endurance that I cannot and I will not fail. Genevieve, your dad and I love you very much. You make all that we sacrifice worth it, and we are so thankful to you. Our brave girl, you make us proud each and every day.
In Vivster, we will never call you a military brat.
I take that name for a reason.
Okay.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Jennifer, you're all set?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Rose, you got a couple more things?
Yes, you know what, I'd like to inform everybody of a couple of events that are going to be taking place in Heritage Park. First of all, the tulips are available for anybody that would like to pick up a tulip and decorate their tulip for the park. And also, April 21st, there's going to be a senior tea here held in the community room. And you can actually contact Amy or Sue if anybody would like to attend that event. It's actually, there's a limit. So if you're planning on attending, please get your reservation in soon. And also, May 22nd, we are going to be having in Heritage Park a youth and community garden event. And myself and Ruben will be spearheading that. Ruben doesn't know that yet. He looks bewildered. But we will be teaching some of the youth of the area. I will be planting some herbs, teaching them how to plant the herb garden like I did last year, and also planting some of the boxes and teaching them about different purposes in attracting butterflies and medicinal purposes for plants and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about that event. That's May 22nd. That's all I have.
Thank you.
What she said.
Okay, my reports. I have one down and I have a couple down for old business. But this one's simple. It's not, it's just something that has to be said. Over the weekend, we got a couple of Facebook remarks, and it went to my daughter, not my wife, and I kind of got beat up by Jennifer on it because the day that we had the interviews for the village manager, I came in 4 minutes late. I had a pair of blue jeans on, and I had a work shirt, and my hair was messed up. And that was unacceptable to Jennifer, because apparently she put that in Facebook. I'm here to represent the residents. I don't care what I wear. I don't think you care what I wear. If it's windy outside, it's going to blow up whatever hair I have left. Things got to change to where everyone's beating up everybody. There is no room in this village for anyone to do it. And if it does keep on doing it, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to call it out to all the people each time to make sure that they absolutely know what's going on. To me, Facebook's the devil. Anyone can throw anything out there and see if it sticks to the wall. And if not, they try it again. But Jesus, how many times do you have to do it? So I did make it to the meeting. I did stay for 3 of them. I did not stay for the last one because I already knew who was going to have the position. So why would I drag him or me sit here? I've known him for years and years and years and never said a boo to him. We got to start doing something, because even that, it got out to the street that we had already picked a village manager. That shouldn't happen. That should have never happened. It's nobody's business until everything's done. So some of the people that did come in for an interview, they did have everything that they need. But I sat down with a few people, talked about it. And then Carmen I sat down with, and I like them. We can't beat them up because someone put him in that position. But what I'm really mad about is no one's given him any help. He has to go over to with the staff and get the answers that he needs. And I'm happy you're doing that. But now we're 12 days into to working with Carmen, and he still doesn't have any help. I think that's absolutely terrible. It makes him look bad, which he's working. He's trying the best he possibly can to get this thing done. So I would say if we don't start working as a team, you're going to have nothing but destruction here. The residents that I've talked to are not happy with what we're doing right now, and I think we have to change it pretty quick. And like I said, from this day on, I'm calling out anything that's stupid, I'm calling it out, even if it's on me. But I would like to see something change. We're almost into a year of your term for the new people, and I don't think you want to go into this doing the same thing in the next one. So I would say that some of us have to grow up. Some of us have to shut up. Some of us have to think about what they're going to say before they say it. And I think we need to give Carmen all the help we possibly can. And that's all I have to say. You can clap. All right.
Sir, can I say something, sir?
Yes.
I completely agree that this whole board has to work together, because our interests are the village of Homer Glen. This is why we ran. I do not believe that there's absolutely anybody sitting at this dais that is up to anything malicious or wants to see Homer Glen fail. I do understand that things that are going out on social media, but I'll be honest with you. If there are certain people that are saying what they have to say, they say it themselves. They stamp their name on it and they put it out there, which is very admirable. If they don't agree with something, they say it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's better than having somebody else put your dirty laundry out for you and saying things on your behalf, to be honest. So to persecute people for what they honestly believe in their heart, I think is wrong. And shame on those people. I think that if there's something to be said, something to be discussed, it should be discussed on this dais, and I agree. But sometimes it's not easy because people are persecuted. And yeah, there are keyboard warriors out there. But I will tell you one thing, and I believe it of you, I believe it of Jennifer, Rosie, Dan. There's nobody here sitting that doesn't want to see Homer Glen excel. So yes, you are right. We have to work together. We got to put stuff out there for the people, because that's why they put us in this seat. So if you are saying, yes, you will work with everybody on this board to get things done right for the people, my ears are open. My doors are open. I have never received one phone call from you saying, you know what, let's work on something. And I'm not sure if you've reached out to anybody else, but okay, let's bury the hatchet now. Let's spread that news and that good vibration, and if you want to do positive things with everybody, let's do it. It's very easy to sit there and read from there and talk about stuff that you read negative online. Well, then pull the person aside and say, hey, you know what? Let's work together. I'm sick and tired of this. Our first meeting that I remember when they won office, the first meeting was, you are going to have a hell of a first 2 years here. That came from your mouth. You did not shake anybody's hand when they came up and they were elected, sworn in by a judge. You sat in that chair, you looked down, and you nodded your head. To me, that's not a way to start a board. I'm sorry. But you know what? You're right. Let's start fresh. Let's do things positive for those people there that put us in these chairs. Because sorry to tell you, we're not here by mistake. We didn't pay for these seats. The people put us here. So you're right. Let's work together. I'm open. I'm all open. Let's do it.
All right.
But let's not just say it. Let's do it.
All right.
And that's all I have.
Okay, I just have one return on that. I did tell you about a company that wants to come in here, and we had to make some times on them.
Right.
And I've never heard back on you, and it's a $1 million or $100 million project.
Okay.
So let's sit
do it.
down.
Let's
sit down and talk.
Yes, I agree. Yes, sir. You know what? Will you shake my hand on it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now we got to go to the consent agenda. Number one, consider an approval for accounts payable for the period of March 25th, 2022 through April 14th, 2022 in the amount of $144,828,000.40. Two, consider for approval payment of the Village of Homer Glen's February legal bills from Mahoney Silverman and Cross LLC in the amount of $3,365.25. Three, consider for approval payment of the Village of Homer Glen's February legal bills from legislation attorney Odelson, Stirk, Murphy, Frazier, and McGrath Limited in the amount of $7,862.50. And that's it. We have a, and then the treasurer's report, which we've already done. There is no discussion on it. We've already done it. So I need a motion to approve.
So move.
Ruben,
Second.
Rosie. All in favor?
Aye.
No, it's got to do, yeah, thank you. Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
And Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, legislation and action items. Consider for approval ordinance number 22-015, an ordinance granting approval of a special use permit, an automobile repair and service for certain real property located in the C3 General Business District at 15751 Anico Drive, Unit 3, Homer Glen, Illinois.
I'll make that motion.
Dan,
I'll second.
Ruben, discussion?
Can we have the business owner come up? I have a few questions for him. Hello, Mr. Abrim, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming out today.
Absolutely.
I just had a few questions for you.
Of course.
In the packet that we're given, there's a few stipulations in order for us to approve this.
Okay.
And I saw one, and being a business owner, when I first came to Homer Glen, I really, really, really bad wanted to have my businesses, and I felt like I agreed to a few things that kind of bit me later that I probably shouldn't agree to.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you're fully aware of what's here and that you're agreeing to something that's here.
Yes, 8 to 5, no weekends.
So the one that I'm looking at, your hours of operation, you know, from what I understand, Mr. Ibrahim is in he's in an industrial park.
Right.
And there's other businesses that are pretty much doing way more than what you do as far as automotive repair. Way more.
Yes.
So, my opinion, that first one that limits your hours, is there anybody else, maybe this is for the village manager, is there anybody else that has limited hours that they could perform repairs outside of their business? Or would he be the only one?
Well, Joe or Melissa may know that.
Or whoever?
I do know that we do have special uses on some of the properties that do have restricted hours of operation. Yes.
8 to 5?
I don't know specifically, Ruben, but I do know that there are some that do have restricted hours of operation.
Can you generalize and break it down a little bit more than just that, hour-wise?
The repair shops? They do allow them into the evenings, but
on a limited basis. There's some of them don't have any restrictions on them at all that are operating in that area.
yeah, and some of that has to do with, Ruben, the fact that some of the businesses have been there for a long time and they're grandfathered in, so they've been in operation long before we were ever a village, and they operate that way. We don't go in if there's an existing business and then enforce the special use permit on top of them. Now, if they were to leave or it was abandoned and a new business came in, then we would do that at that time. So this is like a brand new development with new businesses going in, or any time a business, space is like abandoned or a lease is expired and a new business goes in, if it requires a special use, then it would be looked at that time.
Okay. Mr. Ibrahim, just can you please go over really quick what exactly your business entails? What's your bread and butter over there? What are you guys going to be doing?
So I do automotive repair that is filmed on camera. It is customer cars that are coming in. I have a YouTube channel with a large following, and that's the majority of my customers are coming through the channel. The cars, I am a master technician. I work with Toyota. I'm retiring from Toyota to work in this business full time. Most of my viewers will send me their cars. I will have a camera on, explain the repair, talk about advice for cars and everything, and all that will happen inside this facility.
Okay. Now, is that okay with you? Is this something you're doing just to accommodate, or would you prefer having the ability to work outside in an industrial park that pretty much houses businesses just like yours that can work outside?
The only thing that I want to do is, in the end of the day, when I am done filming these cars that I'm repairing, I'm still repairing these cars that have actual issues and that driven by people. I want at the end of the day to be able to give this customer a invoice, warranty on the work, even though it is a slow process, because I do take a long time to finish these cars. That's why it's a low volume, appointment only. But I do want to have the ability to give them an invoice, give them warranty, because I'm still repairing their car.
Now, I'm sorry, almost done. Number 2 says no body work allowed. You're okay with that?
Yeah, I don't do body work.
You don't do, so you'll never ever do body work. It's very broad, it's very general. I'm talking about tints, I'm talking about minor buffs. This all falls in that realm. Remember, once you sign the deal, it's done.
I don't do body work at all.
Okay.
No.
So you're okay with hours from 8 to 5?
Yes, that's...
Even though everybody else has 8 to 8 and later?
Can I clarify something, Ruben?
Yes.
I specifically put in here that that's just auto repair that's restricted. So just so you know, that's specific. He does have office, he is going to operate, he is allowed to operate his business until 11 if he's inside doing office work, right? Or maybe editing a video or whatever it is that he might be doing. But this is a restriction on the auto repair. And again, just to clarify, staff held a mediation meeting with all the parties because this had kind of escalated. And these weren't necessarily staff-led recommendations. It came up in conversation. We really just facilitated, just to clarify that that's where a lot of this came from.
I don't want to put Mr. Ibrahim in a position that they pull the car back from the garage, they open the hood of the car for whatever reason, and then somebody's calling an inspector on him. This is an industrial park. This is made specifically for the type of business that Mr. Ibrahim has. I want to let him know and make sure that he knows exactly what's happening here before he signs, or not signs, but before this is approved, and will put him in a predicament where he is fined or something like that happens. Now, I had one more question. I'm not sure if any of you guys can answer this. Was the industrial park there before this subdivision?
No, it was not.
The residential housing was built, I think it was like a year or two prior to this park. The approvals on these, the plats were approved within like, I think a year of each other. But I think the houses went in right before the Anaco complex was actually built. And I think they did come in different parcels. It wasn't all built out all at the same time. I mean, Ralph and Derek may be able to speak to when the Peterson buildings were built. I'm not exactly sure.
88.
Yeah, and I know that Lynn built her house in 1978.
So the industrial park's been there approximately 40 years. And those hours, if he was not to agree to these hours, if those hours weren't put in there, what could be his hours of operation had this not been put into this motion?
The allowable hours in our code are 6 to, I believe it's 6 to 11, correct? Yeah.
Sir, you're okay with those hours, 8 to 5? Now's the time?
These are my business hours currently, so
These are your business hours.
believe that
And
it's
the
okay.
key word you said was currently. I mean, you could do it on an honor system too. You could have the same thing everybody else has and just do it on the honor system for right now and the conditions that you're operating your business under. Obviously, once you get started, things may change a little bit and you might want to work till 7 o'clock one night. And this would stop you from doing that. So the businesses in Homer Glen are the foundation of the community we all call home. So, and we all have to work together. So I don't want there to be restrictions on you either that prevent you from doing a little bit more work late in the night if you started a little later in the day. So the second thing, are you finished?
I just want to make sure you have the same rights as the rest of your neighbors, not just you because you're the new guy. We all know how that goes with the new guy. Poor guy gets shorted. I don't want to do that to you. So
Number 3 in this motion, to put in shrubbery or screening along the north property line. I see that the Planning Commission voted 4-0 at this time. Was number 3 in the Planning Commission's packet when they voted on this?
The condition, the actual condition, no, it was not, Dan.
It was not?
It was not.
Okay, and so in the meantime, number 3 was added to it, and we are going to expect the landowner who is renting the property to this gentleman, or this gentleman to pay for it if that was to be kept in there.
So we don't specify who has to pay for it. That could be figured out between the two of them. But the landowner has to authorize it. They have to be okay with it.
Okay, is the landowner here? Yes. Could you step up to the podium also, please? No, if you could, if he could just stay there. Here's the way I look at it. If we start doing this and requiring you to put in screening, there's like 10 neighbors across that lot line. Where does it end?
That's why I was up here earlier expressing that concern.
Trustee Pazmino and myself went out there and walked this down. And we looked at it from all different angles. I mean, there's other garages that are viewable at that point also. But I noticed there's some screening behind this yard already, and I don't know if that was when that was put in or how that was put in. But to put this burden on a business owner or a landowner doesn't seem fair, because now it trickles down to the other 10 houses that are in line with that, and then they want it too. And I understand it, but also the homeowner has the option to put that screening in themselves over the last 40 years. And you've been there for 40 years. There's minimal, right behind that yard where the pool's at. I understand what's being said on her behalf, but to put that pressure on a business, where does it end, is what I'm saying. We start doing this and then everybody starts coming out and saying, I want it too. And I don't think that we should do that to a business myself. I understand the privacy issue to some degree, but that homeowner also has the option to put those in theirself. And being that the Planning Commission did not vote on this as part of the packet, I would like to make the motion to, at a minimum, remove number 3 from this motion.
I have a question before we do that. I was out there too, and I noticed that there's what is that, a 10-foot hill? Is that 10 feet about-ish? Where does that property line begin from the actual unit of Anaco Drive and the private property owners?
Can you pull up Exhibit C as part of this package, the last page of that? Because I think pictorially you can see that there.
Yeah. The berm is in, so on the image on your screen, there's the 3 buildings.
Right.
The building with the stars in the middle where his space is going to go in, and the berm sits just north of that on the Anaco property.
Can we look at image C on the screens?
We don't have that.
I was there. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was there. So I'm trying to ask a question of who owns the first portion?
The berm is ours, all the way up at the top, all the way up to their fence.
All the way up to their fence is yours.
Top of the hill, you go down a little bit to where there's a fence.
That's where the current bushes are, is on top of the hill.
Berm, yep.
Okay, that was my question. And so who planted those bushes already that are up there?
This is Ryan.
You did? Okay. And so from Unit 3, when you're in their parking lot, I was there today, so I was that creepy person who was driving around. When you're sitting in Unit 3, and I'm looking at your house, I believe someone was on the deck, so I used that from him standing. I actually don't get a super clear view of your home. Your home was the one in question. So I was just trying to ask who planted those bushes that you could see a little bit peeking out, and then who planted the bushes on the other side, because there is a space, there's a gap.
But I am not allowed, within the 40 years that he has been there,
Mm-hmm.
to put any other bushes up there because he wanted to take down my bushes. Mr. Peterson did.
I don't know the history of that, but I could ask my father-in-law that question later. I don't know who planted those bushes or why more weren't planted there, if somebody wanted to. We have maintained the grass and the landscape on the hill, as far as cutting and maintaining that up to the property line.
But you're saying you couldn't plant bushes where those bushes are already because it's on his property. But you do have a fence line that you could put a hedgerow on your own property line.
They are up here, but I went to my property line.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't extend, and the view is like this.
Yeah.
Always have commercial developments do screening. It's very difficult.
It was mostly storage and client, and there the people who were renting the buildings were the same people. Now it's going to be up to 5 people a day from various localities coming as a business. And I have grandchildren and myself, and I have no other, if you'd like to see the picture of the back of my home, it's not included, I can give it to you, that's all you see is the deck and the pool, and we're on it. I mean, there is no other yard, it's fenced down.
I saw the pictures from today. Also, when we were out there, Trustee Pazmino was on the top, I was on the bottom, and we tried talking just from the length of the hill, and I could barely hear what he was saying with that longer grass that's on the hill and the way the hill kind of absorbs some of the sound. I get what you're saying with the site, but that site's kind of been there all this time, and that is an industrial park. It's not just for offices. It has been there for 40 years, and I imagine there's been other tenants in there similar to what might be going in there now, but he seems like his operation would be a peaceful operation of a few auto repairs while he's videotaping it to inform people on YouTube. It doesn't seem like it would be that difficult or that intrusive to the view, just from what I saw out there.
What you see from down there is not what I see from my line of view, and also, it's acoustical. It's like a stadium. What you say down there magnifies up to me. But my thing is, I just want a few privacy screens.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to put my bushes across the top of the hill.
Who told you that specifically?
Mr. Peterson, would you allow her to plant more bushes?
I'm not Mr. Peterson, this is my father-in-law.
Can she plant more bushes?
When we met a week and a half ago in the office here or whatever and asked if they'd look at sharing the expense, we were told no. So that's the latest we've heard as far as that. As far as planting bushes, I'm not aware of a request to do that.
So would you allow her to plant bushes? Over here, Trustee Reinders, would you allow her to?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big gap. It would probably take 3 bushes of what's there right now. I actually measured it myself. Like, it would be an easy solution to, if you're worried about privacy, which, you know, I am all for that, and you have the right to have your business too, and I actually think it would look really nice. I mean, and I think it would take 3 bushes, and I think that would be a really easy solution if we can just.
I'd like to ask right now, would you be willing to do a cost share on whatever you agreed to for the rest of the screening of shrubbery?
At the time we discussed this, I was not in a position to offer help. I did not know what type of money we were talking about. I have to have a lot of medical bills right now. So I didn't know it was between Ms. King and the McCurdy's what type of bushes, and no one ever got back to me about the cost.
Could we square that away now?
Can we clarify that?
One of the problems, I think, that this gentleman isn't the owner of the property.
Yeah, so
His father-in-law is.
I don't have it with me, but I have paperwork from my father-in-law for managing the property. My wife and I take care of that.
This specific motion includes it. So are we voting on all 3 of
I think we
these?
should amend the motion to amend, though. And I'm
Right.
waiting for the second. You kind of said you had something to say.
Right, I had a question about that, yeah.
Right, so, but we didn't get the second in before you did that. But nevertheless, we still need a second, though.
Can we table this until you talk to the owner?
I'd like to proceed with this. We have contacted our landscaper and did get a price range for doing something up there.
Right.
And talking with him, it easily should be able to do something for under $1,000 for the 7 or 8 bushes that we're talking about. So.
It should cost $1,000.
I said under $1,000, and that was for 7 bushes. So if we're talking 3, we can do less than $1,000 or whatever, so.
If she wants to do maybe less bushes, that'll be less money. So maybe, because she's the one that wants that shield or that screen, so.
Well, I'm willing to work with them if the budget is like under $500. I
Yes.
cannot.
Does that work? That way we could put this to bed.
But I cannot go
Okay.
any higher than that.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys are going to work it out. I'd still like to move forward with my motion to remove number 3 from the motion.
I don't agree with that.
I second.
Well, Trustee Reinders made the second to change.
I made the motion,
Right.
Ruben seconded, and we've been kind of debating here.
All right, Rosie. Sorry, my apologies.
Can we make mention in the notes that they're going to cooperate with each other and work it out?
With a not to exceed of 500?
Yeah.
When you say 500, you're saying 500 split 2 ways, correct?
I probably could go get him out. I have to talk with my husband, but I was willing to work with him prior to the McCurdy's taking over. Mr. Peterson himself did not allow me on their property, yet he threatened to cut down my bushes, and I paid the landscaper $250 to trim them to his liking. I was never allowed on their property.
But would you be okay with doing that now if we kind of make an agreement for up to $500? You're comfortable with splitting that amount?
Let's agree to leave the bushes.
And just so we have it for the record and then that?
Yes.
Okay.
And don't touch your bushes.
Don't touch the bushes, leave those bushes.
So Trustee Fialko, just for clarification, you want to leave the motion as is, but strike number 3 and replace it with cost share up to $500. Is that
I
correct?
made the motion, and then I made the motion to amend and to remove number 3, letting the 2 parties decide amongst themselves how to resolve it.
I think you want to have something in place so that way, I mean, one side could say, you don't want the other side.
With what Trustee Pazmino said, if that's added, that covers what you're talking about.
Correct.
So that was to be included, yes.
And then I just had one more thing for Mr. Ibrahim. So you're okay from 8 to 5? Because speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yes.
I don't want this coming up again, because you know it will.
Yes. Yes.
This is not the first thing that comes out of Anico Drive. We all know.
Thank you so much, Trustee Rubin, for bringing that up. Actually, my business hours will remain 8 to 5, but if it's possible now to have that be a restricted thing, that would be something that I decide as a business owner. That would be really
8 to 8, and just be a good neighbor and just don't make any noise. That way there's no problems.
I plan to be a good neighbor, and that's why I made a lot of changes to be a good neighbor, and I think that wouldn't be an issue.
Melissa, Melissa, can you tell me how many other businesses are in that one building?
How many businesses?
Yes.
We're in there. We're tenants in there.
Oh, we are. We
Oh,
got
we
two.
have, that's right, we have storage in there?
We're across the.
In that one
Are we
building,
across the way? I'm talking that actual building. The actual building?
We got like 4
well,
tenants.
Mr. McCurdy could probably answer that since he's the property manager, but I believe there's not that many tenants in there. The spaces inside are rather large.
Okay, do we have any other tenants in that building?
There's 8 units in the building, there's 3 businesses.
Yeah, that's what I
Three
thought.
businesses? What are the other businesses?
There's a flower shop, there's an engineering organization, and an e-commerce business.
Okay, thank you.
Beyond that, it's personal storage.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So are we changing the hours though, Ruben?
I amend that we make it at least, well, whatever the normal hours, business hours are for the.
So 8 to 8?
8 to 8 is reasonable. That's
I
reasonable.
would agree to that because I made the motion, so I
Yes.
got to agree to that.
Okay.
8 to 8. You never know.
He's fine with 8 to 5.
Yes, sir, I do.
No, he just changed his
The
mind.
8 on the honor system though, with the 8 to 5.
Just going to suggest that the clerk read whatever she thinks the motion is. Yeah, Mayor, can I make a suggestion? And Mr. Hanson, before you vote, can the clerk read what she has down for the motion, just so everyone's on the same page? There's kind of a motion and a couple amended motions, but I think for the benefit of everyone, including myself, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but just so everyone's on the same page.
Well, I'm just looking to see where it says 8 to 5, because then maybe we can just strike that.
J1.
J1, yeah. Okay, so trustee Fialco and trustee Pasmino, what I'm gathering is that you want to strike number 1 because regular business hours are 8 to 8 anyways. Is that correct? Or are we changing it 8 to 5 to 8 to 8?
There's 6 to 11.
Okay, so number 1, we're replacing 8 to 5 to 8 to 8, and number 3, we're taking out and putting cost share of $500, $250 each.
No.
$500 each.
I believe the
Will not
woman in the
exceed.
audience said,
She said 500.
I would say cost share of up to $500?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Right.
you are okay with 500?
250.
Right, so 250
Up to
each,
not to exceed 500.
but 250 each.
Cost share just means that it's being split.
Yeah.
At that amount.
I knew there was a little confusion on that, so it's,
And I understand now.
And that would be by the landowner and the property owner adjacent, right? Okay. You're okay with that, right?
2 votes,
Okay.
amendment and then the amended ordinance.
I guess I shouldn't ask.
Affecting me in a positive manner because Mr. Alvin is getting his business, and we've agreed, we're fine with everything. Mr. McCurdy is getting a 5-year contract, and plus he's getting an air conditioning unit from Mr. Alvin. I'm getting nothing, and all I'm asking for is 3 bushes.
Yeah. Well, you guys are going to work that out amongst yourselves, and I think that's finding a nice equal point. And so that's what we're going to move forward with, and so everybody should be happy now.
Doesn't seem right. It's all right.
I agree.
And I was notified at 3 o'clock on Friday, the deal was off.
okay.
So Christina, what we need is 2 votes. The
Right,
first is the
that's what I
motion
was
to
just
approve
gonna
the
ask.
amendment to the motion.
Okay.
So move.
No.
Oh, Lordy.
There's already a motion. There's a motion to amend.
So we're voting now.
Ruben seconded it, so we need the vote to.
Motion to
To
amend.
amend.
Okay, so I'm doing roll call right now.
Yes.
Okay, trustee Rogers.
No.
Trustee Pasmino.
Aye.
Trustee Laha.
Aye.
Trustee Fialco.
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino. Aye. And trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Now, that was a motion to amend. Now I need a motion on the new amended motion.
Amen.
Okay. Trustee Pasmino.
Aye.
Trustee Laha.
No.
Trustee Fialco.
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino. Aye. Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
And trustee Rogers.
No.
Motion carries.
We're going to move to J2, right?
J2, consider an approval, a motion to accept an engineering services proposed by Robinson Engineering for the Finneman Creek Sanitary Sewer Cedar Road Extension Project. I need a motion.
So move.
I will second that.
Discussion.
I have a question. This is going to be coming up Cedar Road to 159th and then just slightly east of there? Okay.
Jeannie's been the lead on this.
Okay.
So it's going to go from a point of where the current Finnemic Creek sanitary sewer terminates, which is just south of the Cedar Brook subdivision. It's on the west side of Cedar Road. It would extend all the way down to 159th Street. And then it would go approximately 1,350 feet east. Okay, to like the western property line for the 50-acre parcel that's next to Glenview Walk. There's also consideration for how the sewer could align and hook up for properties on the west side of Cedar Road along 159th Street.
Okay, so from where that sewer is coming in, that so many feet off of Cedar to the east, is there any plan to take the sewer farther east than there?
Well, Glenview Walk is already on sanitary.
Okay.
So it would just pick up where we have a gap.
Okay.
And be able to service those properties that are fronting 159th Street along Cedar Road east of Cedar.
Right.
But also with the consideration for how to route, and it may be under the road, under Cedar Road, so that it also can be picked up by properties that are developing on the west side of Cedar.
And then from Cedar to Gauger, what do we have there?
Well, we already have the Finnemic sanitary sewer, but it's in a sewer shed, if you can envision, between 151st and 159th Street, between Cedar Road and Gauger Road. It's along the low point, which is where the creek is, and that runs generally from the northeast toward the, not down all the way to the corner at Gauger, but basically above the Boo property, okay? And then extensions were done for the gas and wash.
And now could it go on the other side of
So the existing sewer is a distance away from these properties that we're talking about now, which is the reason the Cedar Road extension is really important.
Yes.
It will make the opportunity for new development to come in and have these properties be more shovel-ready.
Right.
Because the water line is already in, but right now, there's quite a distance to stubs along the main Finnemic sewer.
Okay. Thank you.
In addition to that, the American Recovery Act money can be used towards this project. It's very limited as to what can be used, and I believe we do have an ordinance in to go through the board as to where that money would be spent. And I just want to make sure that I know this is for the engineering part of it, and that's all well and good, but I think that it's important to know that we can apply some of that money or all of it towards this project. Am I correct with saying that?
It's my understanding, yes. And John, do you have more information about that? Anything to add?
Yeah, they relaxed the rules on that ARPA federal funds. This most definitely is a qualified expense within the program.
All right, thank you.
Also, one more thing they had, I mean, if we don't do it, Illinois American Water will do it, and we all know what will happen.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
They don't want to do it. They don't want the cost. They want us to pay for it.
Huh?
But it's still with the All right, is there any more comments?
Could I add just another clarification? The motion is actually to accept one of three firms. Obviously, you can see that there is the lowest bidder is Robinson Engineering. I just want to add that there were differences between the three proposals. So looking at apples and apples, Robinson did say that if as-built drawings can be provided for the improvements that IDOT made on 159th Street, in other words, they can actually see the engineering drawings, it will save a lot of money. And if not, that's okay. They told us it would add a 0.5% cost increase to their quote that they gave. And in addition to that, they do highly recommend that we do the geotechnical study that includes soil borings whereas the others were saying that this is, it's all optional, and usually you do it as needed. But Robinson is saying that it's likely to save at least double this cost in construction bids if it's needed later on. So they recommend getting it done up front, and they have quoted an add-on cost of that of $22,000. If you take all of those costs and add them together, their quote would come to $202,468, and that would still be the lowest proposal in terms of cost among the three proposals. So I just wanted to get that into the record so that you know. We have to sort out how that language is done in the contract.
Yes, this was brought through A&F last week, and it was approved unanimously. And that was discussed at that time. You are correct. Robinson Engineering has been around for a long time. They have done other work for the village, as far as I've been told, and we've been happy with the work that they've done before. Even with the 20, like you said, Janie, even with the $22,000 that may have to be spent, when you add that to their total cost, it still is the least, it's the lowest bid. So that is why Admin and Finance Committee recommended going forward with this, with Robinson Engineering.
Okay. Is there anything discussing?
The only other thing I want to ask before we move forward is it says one of three, but yet Robinson Engineering. So it needs to be clarified that we would be picking Robinson at this point, I believe. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
That's on the motion.
Yeah.
To approve one of the three engineering firms that replied.
proposal by
But do we need to be more specific and say it should say Robinson Engineering?
The way I read the motion on the agenda anyway.
This is Robinson.
Indicated or specified Robinson, so that's, unless I misheard the motion.
It says Robinson.
Well, the motion for consideration, is there a motion to approve one of three engineering firms that replied to the village RFP on March 11, 2022 to prepare plans, specifications, a construction cost estimate and permits, and provide bidding services and construction management and oversight for the proposed Fitterman Creek Sanitary Sewer Cedar Road extension? I don't...
Trustee, the actual motion was consider the approval of a motion to accept the engineering services proposed by Robinson Engineering for the Fitterman.
Right. That's why I'm asking if the box, if it needs to be amended to make sure that we say Robinson in there.
That box wasn't what was read in the motion. What was read in the motion was the agenda item.
The committee recommendation.
Yeah, which specifies Robinson.
Where are you specifically?
We can stay with the agenda item.
The agenda?
From the agenda.
Right, the agenda is one thing, but the motion is the...
Not the supplement sheet.
The motion that was read was off of the agenda.
Just as long as we're all clear that we're talking about Robinson Engineering.
I'm in agreement. I was under the impression or heard that it was Robinson.
All right, so Ruben made the motion, Dan made the second. Do I, any other questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Viazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fielko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
And Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, consider a motion to approve a purchase of 2 plow vehicles for the Public Works Department, one for this fiscal budget and one for next year's fiscal budget.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Again, this went through A&F. We talked about this. We have to, what I'd like to just say is we cannot replace 10 plows in 1 year. So the idea is to try and get at least one truck, one plow a year and it's in the budget. John, is that correct? It's in the budget for last year. It's in the budget for this upcoming fiscal year. And it's just the prudent way to do things. Instead of trying to buy 5 trucks at one time, we'll trickle them in 1 or 2 at a time. And at A&F, this passed unanimously with that discussion. And so that's my comments, sir.
Let's get our boys what they need to get that snow this winter.
I have a question.
Sure.
Now, was the snowplow, were both snowplows, was that with the American Recovery Act funding?
No.
No, okay, thank you.
We actually have one in it, but we also had one in Public Works. So this is being tagged towards the Public Works budget line item.
Okay, thank you, John.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Fielko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino? Aye. Trustee Reinders?
No.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
And Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, consider an approval of a motion to hire social project manager, senior project manager, civil engineer for the Development Services Department.
So move.
Second.
Jen. Discussion.
Right now, we currently don't have anybody in that position, and I know, Melissa, you need a ton of help, so we're gonna get it for you.
With that motion, I'd like us to make sure that we're, if we can, be hiring somebody with a PE. That is something we haven't had in the past, and that gives a little more flexibility to the village to approve things that are done for us without reaching out to other engineering firms.
Dan, just for clarification, that was in the supplemental sheet and what we were going to post out there to look for a PE.
Right, I'm just talking about what's in the...
Yeah, just to let you know.
So, okay, so that is, we're looking for an engineer that's got a PE degree?
Correct.
Correct? Okay.
And then also drainage and flooding experience.
Yeah, that was
correct?
very specified by most staff members that we were going to do that, and I would have to agree with this village. The history of drainage and flooding is always a concern.
It's never going to go away.
No.
So it's a no-brainer for me, Melissa. You guys,
All right, any other comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Cancelino?
aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
And Trustee Fialko?
Aye?
Motion carries. Next, consider a motion to approve to propose discretionary general fund reserve transfers.
Number 5.
Number 5.
J5.
All right, consider approval of the amended mayor and village board standard operating procedure number 2.
So move.
Second.
Ruben and Jen. Any discussion?
Ruben.
This is an annual update of SOP number 2. It's a fund accounting policy guideline. It identifies the purpose of a fund, where it gets its money from, what it spends it on, and what its suggested fund balances are. It's really a guideline for auditors and underwriters. And we updated with the acquisition of the Public Works Department. Some of the numbers have been updated a little bit. But the only real significant changes is that we added the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act grant, to this document. For the most part, it's just an update, and it is guidelines.
All right. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye?
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
All right, I got a suggestion. Can someone put these letters bigger than what they are? So I can't see. All right, so,
Duly noted, George.
thank you. Consider a motion to approve of the proposed discretionary general fund transfers at April 30th, 2022 for standard operating procedure number 2.
So move.
Ruben,
Second. Really?
Rosie? Discussion?
So this also is a recurring procedure we've done. And this one is saying that we want to adjust the fund balance, the general fund balance, back down to the maximum amount, which is 50% of next year's budget. So what you're voting on is to say that we want to bring the fund balance back down to half of the $12 million general fund balance. I don't know where it's going to end yet because of, March and April are pretty significant months for, this gives me the latitude to bring that balance down exactly to what the maximum is. And past procedures have typically swept the funds into the capital project fund. So we were suggesting that you sweep the equity, the general fund equity surplus into the capital project fund. And it could be between $2 million and $2.6 million. depending on how the expenses roll in. It's going to be a little bit lower because we're going to do this truck. That just knocked it down 225 grand.
Okay. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pasmino?
Aye.
Trustee Laha?
Aye.
Trustee Fiocco?
Aye.
And Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, consider for approval the rescinding of the order 21-057, an ordinance declaring a village-wide hiring salary and position reclassification freeze.
So move.
Ruben,
Second.
Dan, discussion.
Sir, I think at this moment, given that we already have a new village manager in place, we do have many positions that we do have to fill. And from what I understand, the trustees feel that Manager Morella is fully competent to go ahead and proceed with what he needs. And I think that it is appropriate to rescind this.
And I'm very happy you say it because he needs it and he will come around very quickly to learn this. But if this sitting around and not hiring anyone that's just not fair to him, that's not fair to the residents here.
Right.
That's not fair to us. It's not fair to anything, especially him.
We believe that...
Elaborate just a little bit, sir. You said without hiring anybody. I know we've taken and given promotions, and we have hired people. When you're talking about nobody being hired yet, it sounds like you maybe have a specific job in mind.
Right there.
Well, I mean, you had made the comment, so I'm just wondering what that...
We need someone to help Carmen.
I believe we need...
At what
yeah.
level, though? What position are you talking about?
Village manager. He's the village manager and he's missing some of the credentials. He needs to get up to date to be able to do what we need here.
So most of the departments that have come to us under this old ordinance, though, have gotten exactly what they needed and beyond. So up to this point, I don't know of anybody else that was asking for anything. So that's why I was just asking for clarification, what you were saying, that jobs haven't been filled and that we need to move forward with this. So you're just talking about getting Carmen help from staff, which we have somebody coming in next Monday. Gina Spino, or Gina Marcotte is going to...
She's the deputy clerk. She is going to assist Carmen until he can find somebody. But we were all under the assumption that Matt was going to be assisting Carmen, and then Matt quit. So I really honestly and truly believe that we're doing him a disservice by not having somebody in a position to help him with all the duties, whether it be an assistant village manager or an assistant to the village manager. There's responsibilities. This staff is stretched so thin, they're taking on the responsibilities of, number one, the deputy clerk, number two, everybody's passing out jobs to everybody else,
Engineer.
and nobody's actually being required to do what their specific job is that they were hired for. So I just believe at this point in time that we need to start, Carmen needs to start building a team of his own.
I agree.
All right, but I agree with what you said. You don't need another village manager. You just need an assistant to the village
Right.
manager who knows everything.
Right, exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I agree with everything I've heard. I just would like to leave it up to Manager Morella to make that decision on his own, which is why we released this freeze. And when the village manager is ready, he will go ahead and do what he needs to do. And that should be up to him.
I agree.
No. I'll sit down with them and we will both discuss that. Because that starts right here. It's going to be his job. I'm going to leave him alone.
It doesn't sound like you are, though. You just said you need to discuss it with him. I think he needs to make his own decision, and if anything, he needs to discuss
I
it.
have a question, and I don't mean to overspeak, but what was the process when Matt Walsh, who was once an assistant to the village manager, then became our acting assistant village manager? What was the process once he became the acting acting village manager? What were his authorities? Like he was able to pick and choose, was he not?
The village manager hired
Yes.
his assistant and didn't ask anybody.
Yes.
He didn't
That's
hire it.
pretty much
didn't.
where we're at, per the ordinance.
He didn't hire it.
Yes, he
And he
did.
needs to make his assessment.
He hired our public works director.
He didn't hire an assistant village manager.
Okay, no, but that,
No, I think we're fine.
I would like to request that the authority that the village manager once had continue to have the same. I don't want to see any difference just because it's Mr. Morella.
All right, but the way it worked before is I work together with you. Not anybody else. I don't work with staff. Staff can come to me if they have issues, or if they want to talk about something. I don't have any issues with that at all. You're coming into something to where you don't know enough to, at least all I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna guide you. And then from there, if the trustees want to talk to you about it, that's absolutely fine, but you need someone that at least has gone through everything you are going to go through.
Sassy.
Thank you, but yeah, it's understandable what everybody's talking about, and I know concerns that that staff's struggling with. I've been in some observation for the last 2.5 weeks, and it weighs heavy on your shoulders to know what the staff's looking for and what we need, and we'll strategically work together. I'm going to definitely take some recommendations from staff when we do some hires, and I will be asking the board too. So that's how I feel I can move forward with that.
You have to get the input from all of them.
Absolutely, I agree. Because in order to build a team, we have to work together, and that's my goal as a village manager, is to make sure we can all work together.
Right.
And staff's input to me is very important, and the board's input is very important for me too, and it's including you too, Mayor Yukich. You know, it's important for all of us to kind of move forward and get this village to where it needs to be, and that's my goal. So,
Yep, I agree.
Can we vote?
I hope so. Let's vote. Can I call the roll?
Roll call.
Okay, trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Piazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Laha.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino. Aye. Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next would be old business. Are we having executive session today, or no?
No, not that I know.
So no old business, okay. Next.
All right, is there any old business? Is there any new business? I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Is it
got
you?
it, Ruben.
And Ruben? Nicole and Ruben, just making sure.
Yeah. You can still have the credit card.
Somebody said it was